As we delve into the final days of the Nazi elite, it's a story that's as shocking as it is revealing. Picture this. The year is 1945, and the world is on the brink of monumental change. The Third Reich, once a formidable force, is crumbling. The Allied forces are closing in on Berlin, and the leaders of this regime are faced with a harrowing reality: accountability. What happens when the architects of one of history's darkest chapters are confronted with their impending doom? Let's start with Adolf Hitler. On April 30th, 1945, he chose to leave this world rather than face the consequences of his actions. In his bunker, surrounded by the chaos of a collapsing empire, he took his own life alongside Eva Braun. It's a moment that encapsulates the depths of his despair. They burned their bodies, a desperate attempt to avoid the humiliation of capture and display. Can you imagine the mindset of a man who, having orchestrated unimaginable horrors, would rather die than face justice? It's a chilling thought, isn't it? Then there's Joseph Goebbels, the propaganda minister, who on May 1st, 1945, mirrored Hitler's tragic end. But his demise was even more horrific. He and his wife, Magda, poisoned their 6 children before taking cyanide themselves. It's a heart-wrenching act, one that speaks volumes about the twisted loyalty and delusion that permeated the Nazi regime. To think that they believed death was a better fate for their children than living in a world without the Third Reich is a stark reminder of the depths of their indoctrination. Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, had a different fate in mind. He attempted to escape, to flee the consequences of his actions, but was captured by British forces. During his interrogation on May 23, 1945, he bit down on a cyanide capsule, choosing death over the humiliation of being held accountable. His story is a reflection of the cowardice that often accompanies tyranny. Here was a man who wielded immense power and instilled fear in countless lives. Yet when faced with justice, he opted for the quick way out. It's a haunting irony, isn't it? And then there's Hermann Göring, Hitler's designated successor. Captured by American forces, he awaited trial at Nuremberg, but on the eve of his execution, he too chose suicide, using a cyanide capsule. It's a dramatic end for a man who once held such power. His fate was sealed, not by the gallows, but by his own hand. It's a stark reminder that even the most powerful can't escape their reckoning. What about the others? High-ranking Nazis like Heinrich Müller, the head of the Gestapo, vanished into the chaos of war's end, presumed dead. Many faced trials at Nuremberg, where justice was meted out, but for some, accountability remained elusive. The fall of Nazi leadership was not just the end of a regime. It was the beginning of a new world order. The division of Germany and the onset of the Cold War emerged from the ashes of this brutal regime, forever altering the geopolitical landscape. This documentary reveals not just the shocking demises of these leaders, but the untold stories of the Panzer Division and the men who fought in the shadows of their leaders. As we reflect on this history, we're reminded of the fragility of power and the inevitable consequences of tyranny. The end of the Nazi elite wasn't just a conclusion. It was a powerful lesson in accountability, a reminder that history has a way of catching up with those who believe they are above it all. So, as we explore these untold stories, let's remember the past, learn from it, and ensure that such darkness never rises again.